My dear friends, let me begin with a simple question. Have you ever noticed how life becomes a little quieter after 50? The rush slows down. The responsibilities shift. The body starts whispering instead of shouting. And in that silence, many people begin to depend more and more on medicines. But today, I want to gently offer you a different thought. What if one of the most powerful medicines was already available to you, free of cost, without side effects, and waiting right outside your door? Yes, walking. Not running. Not lifting heavy weights. Just walking. Let's explore this together. There is a truth we often ignore as we grow older. Not all pain is physical. After 50, life begins to change its rhythm. The house becomes quieter, children become busy in their own worlds, friends reduce in number. And the body starts sending small signals: fatigue, stiffness, restlessness. But beyond all of this, there is something deeper that no scan or report can fully capture: emotional weight. This is where walking becomes not just an exercise but a form of emotional medicine. Imagine a man sitting in a room full of medicines. His table is full tablets for blood pressure, sugar, cholesterol. Yet he feels something missing. He says, I am physically treated but I am not mentally free. This is the modern paradox. Now imagine that same man stepping outside early in the morning. The air is soft, the world is quiet. He begins to walk slowly. At first, his thoughts are loud worries about money, health, family, past regrets. But something interesting happens after a few minutes. His breath begins to match his steps. His thoughts begin to slow down. The mind, which was once a crowded marketplace, becomes a calm garden. Walking does something subtle but powerful. It gives your emotions space to breathe. Medicines cannot sit with your loneliness. Pills cannot listen to your unspoken fears. But walking allows your inner world to settle on its own. There is also something deeply healing about movement itself. When the body moves gently, the mind feels less trapped. Psychologically, walking releases endorphins, natural chemicals that improve mood. But spiritually, it does something even deeper. It reconnects you with life. Many people after 50 carry invisible emotional burdens: regret of decisions, grief of loss, fear of aging. When you walk regularly, you are not escaping these emotions, you are walking through them. Step by step, you begin to realize that emotions are not permanent residents, they are passing visitors. One elderly man once said, when I walk, I don't feel like I am running away from my problems. I feel like I am walking beside them, and slowly they lose their power over me. That is the healing no medicine can offer. Walking does not erase pain, it transforms your relationship with it. And sometimes that is the deepest healing of all. Aging is not the enemy, stagnation is. After 50, many people begin to believe that slowing down physically is inevitable. But nature never designed the human body for stillness. It was designed for rhythm, movement balanced with rest, activity balanced with calm. Walking is the most natural expression of that rhythm. When you walk daily, something extraordinary happens inside your body, even though you may not notice it immediately. Your heart begins to work more efficiently. Blood circulates more smoothly. Muscles that were becoming stiff begin to loosen. Joints that were becoming rigid begin to find their softness again. But beyond biology, there is wisdom here. Think of water. When it flows, it is alive, fresh, and full of energy. But when it stays still, it begins to lose its purity. The same principle applies to the human body. Movement is life. Stillness beyond necessity becomes decay. Walking is not intense, and that is its beauty. It respects the body instead of forcing it. After 50, the body does not need punishment in the gym, it needs kindness in motion. A gentle 30 to 40-minute walk can often do more for long-term health than extreme bursts of exercise that are not sustainable. Walking also helps regulate weight naturally. It supports metabolism, reduces inflammation, and improves sleep quality. Many people who start walking daily notice something surprising. They don't just feel healthier, they feel more alive. There is also an often overlooked benefit: consistency. Medicines work when taken regularly, but so does walking. The difference is that walking builds health instead of just managing symptoms. And perhaps the most beautiful part: it is accessible. You don't need equipment. You don't need a gym. You don't need perfect health to begin. You just need willingness. Even slow walking counts. Even short distances matter. because the body does not respond to perfection, it responds to consistency. After 50, the goal is not to become young again, it is to age with strength, dignity, and independence. Walking supports exactly that. It preserves mobility, reduces dependency, and strengthens the body in a way that feels natural, not forced. In essence, walking is not just movement of the legs, it is preservation of life. In a world filled with noise, walking becomes a form of silence that speaks. After 50, life brings a different kind of mental space. There is more reflection, more memory, and sometimes more overthinking. The mind begins to revisit the past decisions made, relationships lived, opportunities missed. Without awareness, this can become mental heaviness. Walking gently interrupts that cycle. When you walk alone, something shifts. You are no longer sitting in the same place feeding the same thoughts. Your environment changes, and with it, your mental pattern begins to loosen. This is why walking is often called meditation in motion. You are not forcing the mind to be silent, you are allowing it to settle naturally. Many spiritual traditions unknowingly emphasize walking, whether it is pilgrimage journeys or mindful walking practices. There is something sacred about moving slowly and consciously through space. When you walk, you begin to notice things you normally miss: the softness of morning light, the sound of birds, the rhythm of your breath, the sensation of your steps touching the ground. These small details pull you into the present moment. And presence is where peace lives. One elderly woman once said something very profound. I don't sit and close my eyes to pray anymore. I walk, and I feel like every step is a prayer. That is the transformation walking brings. It turns routine movement into spiritual connection. Walking also creates a safe space for inner dialogue. You can speak to yourself without judgment. You can process emotions without pressure. You can reflect without distraction. In many ways, walking becomes a conversation between your body, your mind, and something deeper within you. And the beauty is, it requires no technique. You don't have to achieve meditation. You simply walk. Slowly, your mind learns a new rhythm. Instead of rushing, it begins to observe. Instead of reacting, it begins to notice. Instead of being overwhelmed, it begins to soften. That is why many people say their clearest ideas come during walks. Because when the mind is not forced, it becomes intelligent on its own. Walking, therefore, is not just physical movement, it is inner alignment. As we grow older, it is natural for medical needs to increase. But what is not always necessary is overdependence. Many chronic lifestyle conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol imbalance are deeply influenced by daily habits. And one of the most powerful habits that directly impacts all of them is walking. Walking improves insulin sensitivity, supports heart health, and helps regulate blood pressure. But beyond these clinical benefits, it reduces the root cause of many modern ailments: inactivity. Often, we treat symptoms without addressing lifestyle. We take medicines to manage what movement could improve. This is not about rejecting medicine. Medicine is a blessing of modern science, but it is about understanding balance. Walking is one of the few habits that works with medicine instead of replacing it. It enhances its effectiveness. In some cases, under proper medical guidance, it can even reduce dependency over time. But there is a deeper truth here. When you walk daily, you begin to take responsibility for your own health. You shift from passive treatment to active care. This mindset itself changes everything. There is dignity in that. Instead of saying, I am dependent on tablets, you begin to say, I am participating in my healing. That shift alone is powerful. Many doctors quietly say that consistent walking is one of the most underrated prescriptions they can give. Because it does not just treat one condition, it improves overall system functioning. It also reduces medical anxiety. When people become active, they often worry less about their health because they feel more in control. Walking, in this sense, is not just prevention, it is empowerment. It gently tells the body, I am not giving up on you. Perhaps the most beautiful gift of walking is not physical or medical, it is existential. After 50, many people begin to feel disconnected from the world. Life slows down in external roles, but sometimes also in emotional engagement. The sense of being needed reduces, and with it, a subtle loneliness can grow. Walking gently reverses this. When you step outside regularly, you re enter the world. You see life happening again not as a participant in rush, but as an observer of beauty. You notice children going to school. You see people starting their day. You feel the warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of nature, the continuity of life that does not depend on your worries. This reconnection is deeply healing. Because loneliness is not always about being alone, it is about feeling disconnected from life. Walking restores that connection. It also gives structure to the day. A morning walk becomes a ritual, a small anchor that gives meaning and rhythm. One elderly man once said, I lost interest in life after retirement. But when I started walking daily, I started feeling like life still wants to meet me every morning. That is powerful. Walking also restores gratitude. When you see life outside yourself, you stop over focusing on what is missing and start noticing what is present. And slowly, something soft happens inside you, begin to feel part of the world again. Not separate, not forgotten, but included. That is what walking truly does. It brings you back to life, one step at a time.